If you're watching this right now, the stream's already over. I appreciate you watching though. Actually, I might need that. Zent, what's up? Not much, just doing maintenance on a knife. Milwaukee knives are the same as just about every other knife. Interesting. Trying something new as well. Instead of constantly dropping parts, I'm going to use silly putty to hold them. Yeah, that's a PM2. I noticed this thing having a little bit of detent lash a little bit ago, and then I got it to go away, and then it came back again, and then it went away again. So I'm trying to look at it to find out what the issue causing that may be. Detent feels fine now. Go ahead and clear out all of the grease that was on this. Nothing on this side. Nothing on this side. However, there's a little bit of super glue in there. So we're going to go ahead and grab some acetone. And put it in that spot. And clean that stuff out. There we go. Much better. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, now we'll go ahead and put this thing back together. I did swap the original bearings out with skiff bearings a while back. I wouldn't expect a whole lot. Unfortunately, there aren't very many knives that really impress me these days. This one did, however, it's got some issues that I would like for them to iron out. Unfortunately, they won't be ironing them out because they don't give a shit what I think. So, that's not going to happen, but what do you do? Well, what I did was I fixed the issues as well as I could myself, and then I put it back together. There. Yeah, there we go. You know, a little bit of stuff in this one too. Go ahead and get all this stuff out of the way. Flip this over in case we get some acetone on it, because the acetone takes off the white marks on the other side. No, steel, technically speaking, steel type doesn't matter if you don't trust the company. If it isn't verified to be that material, then, you know, it's mystery steel, to be honest. Until you get it in hand and try it out. Honestly, when you're buying every knife, every knife that you buy, you're expecting some sort of honesty based on the materials that the manufacturer has stated that they are. Any manufacturer could technically just decide that they don't want to do that anymore. It would be false advertising and they'd likely get sued for it, but yeah. That's why you buy from reputable companies. Let's see if I can get this thing just barely centered. And if I can do that, then it should have some impressive action. I kind of agree that it's ugly, however, it's unique. I don't think that the Norseman is an attractive knife. Part of the reasoning behind that is I don't think I could sharpen it. And if I could, it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience to me. Part of owning these knives to me, being the way that I am, is maintenance. I do enjoy doing maintenance on my knives. And if I'm spending $1,000 on a knife, I fully expect it to be relatively easy to sharpen, in my opinion, which I do have some experience with sharpening, so it's not like I'm new to it. That's one of those reasons why I don't really enjoy Benchmade, is because they don't like you taking your shit apart. They're kind of like the Ferrari of knives, where they don't make the best shit and they don't want you doing anything to your shit after you own it. God, it's perfectly centered too. Beautiful. Now, if it can just stay like this forever, I would be perfectly happy. However, I still need to adjust. So that one needs to be tightened. And then we'll take this one out. That's not good. I see. Well, if we're going to work on that, so be it. See, an interesting issue that this knife has that most knives, in my experience, don't have is sick. No, I was. Why'd you think I was sick? What? I did swap my my original scale back onto my Stabenza though. I like the looks of it more that way. God, it's perfect. New way of doing things though. Any specific reason you're going with Amazon instead of any other options, or? Damn. I don't usually recommend buying from Amazon because you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you don't get what you ordered and it's like way, way off. Sometimes the knife that you ordered got returned and it was damaged. Sometimes the knife that you ordered was swapped out by somebody else. I'd rather purchase from a company who is either strictly a knife dealer or something along those lines. A couple options I could give you would be Blade HQ, Knife Center. They've been around for a while. I know exactly what caused that issue too. That was that little bit of super glue that was in one spot. This whole time I could have had it this smooth. And I didn't. Trent, what's up? Actually, a really good knife that, if you can find one, the Buck 112. Oh, what's it called? I have one and I love it. Buck 112 Slim Pro. They were like 80 or 90 bucks. And when Buck had them go on sale right before they discontinued it, it was like 60 bucks. Still easily one of my favorite knives. It doesn't weigh as much as the as the Ranger, the older versions anyway, because it's got G10 scales instead of the wood and brass. Priced very well for S30V though. And if you can find one, I do highly recommend it. That's more like it. My Buck 112 Slim Pro has a little bit of play to it, but it's not bad enough for me to be worried about it. I think that that knife is probably the best bang for your buck that you can get. No pun intended. Is there anything else that I want to work on right now while we're here? Nope, that's all good. ZT's fine, Benchmate's fine, Spyderco's fine. Sure, but the Buck 110 Slim and the Slim Pro and the Slim Pro TRX, those are still great knives. The Buck 110 Slim has a thumb stud. So does the 112 Slim and the 112 Slim Pro. God, it's such a good knife. I really do love this thing. I know SOG had one that was like that. I wouldn't buy one with a gimmicky opening mechanism. Well, at least it worked. Like front flippers, I don't buy them because they're gimmicky and I suck at opening them. There are very few front flippers that I can do well. I don't even know why I closed that. And if I'm going to do it well, usually it's, no, it's silly putty. Usually I have to go like this. The comb over. And most of the time I suck at doing it with my thumb. Probably because my finger gets in the way, but... Stuff's great for holding screws and stuff, though. I didn't think about using it like that until just a little bit ago. Yeah, if you have any really small parts or anything, like screws, taking a knife apart, really, really helpful. Didn't even think about that. I do want to test that again real quick. Well, I'm working further towards getting stuff set up tomorrow I'll be calling the patent office and we'll be getting to work on having a design patent filed. After the design patent, I need the 3D, or I need the CAD work done. And then after the CAD work, I will be bringing it over to a local knife OEM, and if they agree, we'll be moving forward. Yep, I still buy and sell knives. Unfortunately, I can't buy a whole lot of knives right now. And I usually don't buy from people online, but I have $2,100 in inventory right now, and I can't get rid of it. So won't be it's unfortunate, but that's how things work in business. Things don't always work out. I don't personally make knives. I buy and sell used knives though, and I also design knives. A lot of the US is struggling with money right now, and they don't have the money to be putting into used knives. I believe I also have purchased knives that people just don't want, which that happens unfortunately. You know, you see a really good deal and you're like, why not go for it? And then this is exactly why you don't go for it. As for the Germany knife question, that doesn't mean a whole lot, and unless you have information on the knife name or anything like that. Why is there always oil everywhere on the inside of these things? Somebody's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. I've, knock on wood, never lost a knife in the mail. I also insure everything, so when I ship things out, they're not going out without insurance. Oh, no clue. Yeah, I do. You're probably going to tell me something like, oh, they don't cover knives or something like that. No? Never had any of them stolen, never had not a single thing like that. Not much. Doing a live stream because I'm bored. I've been happy with their pricing. And my local UPS or USPS is great. I can get stuff from here to Florida in 3 days, paying standard shipping. Yeah, I've never had that happen before. I've never had a knife stolen from me. Why in the hell is there 2 on one side and 1 on the other? Or 3 on one side and 2 on the other? That would explain a lot. Oh, I don't go with UPS. I go with USPS because the one thing that the government does right is shipping. Whether it be cargo or nuclear bombs, we get it done. Nah, I just put it together wrong last time. It's my knife. I took it apart last time too. Sometimes I'm just an idiot. That's a common thing. And somebody's gonna go, we all make mistakes, man. You're not an idiot. No, I'm pretty dumb. You're giving me more credit than I have due, so. Put it to you this way. I mean, hopefully it works out, but throwing my life savings into a knife design and hoping that it works. Risky, risky. That's why I don't take credit cards. Not at the moment, anyway. I hate PayPal so much. They suck. I do have a knife design picked out, yeah. Again, tomorrow I'm calling the US Patent Office and gonna try and get a design patent hammered out. I'm having a folding knife OEM'd. Yeah, made in Idaho. I have not filed for a patent before. I'm hoping it's relatively simple. I'm not exactly the best with paperwork. And by that I mean, I hate paperwork. I believe it will cost money, yes. I'm willing to put the money down for it. I'm also paying for prototyping out of pocket, so that's not being passed on to the. Depends on the patent you're talking about, I think. Because from what I've heard, it's the patent attorneys that are expensive. Well, that's not great. I definitely don't have $35,000. Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow when I call. No clue. All I can say is I hope it's less expensive than 35,000, because I definitely don't have that much money. What I do know is I have my life savings working for me at least, so it's not just sitting there. It is a government office, yes. So it's probably going to take forever, is what that means. The design patent is for looks. So other companies can't take that look and say, "Hey, we're going to make a smaller version of this because your customers are asking for it and you're not making it." It would be millet. They don't make a whole lot of their own stuff. How's it fitting? Yeah, not the way it's supposed to. Okay. I think I'm gonna do, nope, can't do it backwards. Something's wrong here. Or maybe not. Turn that barrel spacer around, and we'll try that again. I'm still debating on whether I want it on bearings or washers. I'm pretty dead set on washers, but it's a hard decision to make because I like the action of bearings. I like how it I like how washers don't get dirty. Thumb stud. I'm debating on a flipper, but I doubt I'm going to do it. I don't want to have to design things around a flipper tab. That's just not fun to do. Thickness? About... No. Everything sucks when you use children's CAD. I'm using a CAD software made for teaching children how to use CAD software. So when the only shapes that I have are squares, triangles, and circles. Cylinders, sorry. Designing these things takes forever. Oh, blade steel? It depends. If it comes out early, which I doubt it will, early enough to where that the blade steel I want isn't out yet, then we'll go with MagnaCut. You know, kind of the base at this point. And if it does come out after Magnamax is already out and running its course, then yes, we'll be going with Magnamax. Because I care about edge retention more than toughness. And I would hope that people buying that much or that expensive of a knife would agree that they're probably not going to be prying on that thing. You stumbled upon a guy putting a knife back together. Yeah, I don't live stream as often as I used to. Not really any drama or anything. I kind of just don't feel like it. A little bit of burnout going on. It's extremely repetitive and actually gets quite boring. No, I don't give a shit about monetization anymore. Right after I got demonetized, I was actually pretty happy that it happened. I will work on that here in a minute. I've run out of things to watch on YouTube. I've started watching people do coffee reviews, and I don't even like coffee. I suck at balancing on dirt bikes. Or maybe I don't suck, and it was just that one ride where I fell over. Completely my fault, by the way. Going sideways on a hill, not exactly. The best part is it was my first ride on a dirt bike, and I went sideways on a hill and fell over. Down the hill, not up the hill. Sure, I can sharpen a knife, but sharpening a knife gets old too. Especially when I've already sharpened just about every knife in my collection. There's a few that I just won't touch, but it's not because of the price, it's because I don't like sharpening Tontos. Okay. Now let's get this thing properly tuned. Yeah, the week after I got my Sebenza, I sharpened it. I don't like recurves because they're a bitch to sharpen as well. However, I don't like Tontos because they're a bitch to sharpen. There's another reason too. I never use them. No, I've never sharpened a knife right out of the box. There's no point. There was a guy that messaged me a while back about so I have an ad on Facebook Marketplace for knife sharpening. And dude drops in and says he just got a knife and was wondering if I'd sharpen it. And it was a Kershaw. What's their little folder in Magna Cut? The Bel Air. He just got a Bel Air and was wondering if he should have me sharpen it and give it a nasty edge or just leave the factory edge until it's dull first. And I said, leave the factory edge until it's dull. There's no point in having me sharpen it if it's already sharp. All right, I'll hear you out, but I don't usually do trading. Yeah, establish a bevel after it's dull. Oh. Yeah, no, I don't find much of a use in sharpening them right out of the box. They're already sharp. I can get them sharper, sure, but why not get them sharper when they're dull? It depends. What are you trying to trade? I barely use strops, I'll be honest. I don't use them much at all. Instead of stropping my knife to bring it back, I just sharpen it again. And what are you looking to trade for? That's what I'm more concerned about, is what you want in return. I carried this thing into a pool. I've never seen Os 8 rust that fast. Well, supposedly, knives have microscopic serrated edges, and it helps align the teeth. Yes, I've seen it under a microscope. I understand that that's kind of how these things work. However, I don't strop them unless I just finish sharpening. If it gets dull, I just do a couple passes on a stone. I don't find much of a use other than giving me that nasty edge that I like having. I do not have a whole lot of places where everything's posted. However, the NAF's Facebook group has a lot of my stuff that's up for sale. I've got a ton of knives up for sale. I'm just live streaming because why not? Here pretty soon I'm going to be headed to bed though. Is everything okay? I'm doing fine. I'm just tired. I'm always tired though, so I make my own strops. In fact, we were talking about that on Bushcraft's stream the other night. Mine are 6-inch pieces of leather that are, what, an inch and a half wide? About an inch and a half wide. And I got like 60 or something inches of it, or maybe it was 48, off of a listing on Amazon. And it's supposed to be for making belts. However, it works very well for making strops. And Outdoors 55 used to recommend them, and then they didn't show up on his description posts anymore. So I had to go searching for it. And it took forever, and I was not happy with that. I have 2 knives listed on Blade Binge, and the rest are listed on the NAF's Facebook group. Not the rest, but like a lot of the other ones. Okay. I post a lot on there. I don't think I can do this, but... Oh. No shit. With a knife that thick. Damn. I tried that with my Sabenza and I couldn't pull it off. Wonder what the fuck caused that. I mean, that was pretty easy, but... that I've never done a diagonal cut on one of these before. I tried it earlier. I tried to get it on video with my Sebenza and it just didn't happen. I was very, very disappointed. I will warn you though, if you're still here, I probably won't trade anything, but there may be something. God, I should continue sharpening, but I really don't want to. Well, it kind of depends on what you like. I like my Sebenzas because they're made locally and I can go get parts for them and do warranty work in a couple days instead of having to ship them out. I live close enough that I could technically walk there, but I choose not to. It just takes forever. And with the time that I wake up, probably wouldn't get there by the time they closed. Okay. I'm going to put it this way, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say it this way. I've been happy with my Chris Reeve knives. I haven't been overly impressed. Well, I'll put it to you this way. If they were worth the $525 that it cost you, you could have resold it for $525. Right? That's the way that I look at it. It's not really subjective, it's just how much people are willing to pay for them. Like, if I can get things done for the price that I want them done, I would. You guys already know how much I want to sell mine for. I want to beat everybody else on the market. But if a design patent's going to be 35,000 bucks, it ain't going to happen. And you would have got more than 200 on eBay, by the way. Couldn't imagine falling asleep to my own videos. Be hilarious. Just fall asleep on stream. Middle of the stream. This ain't cutting it. Well, nobody's saying anything, so I figured I'd just sit here and sharpen. We're ending the stream in around 13 minutes anyway, so if I get a conversation started, then I might not end the stream when I want to. And I might not be able to fix my sleep schedule like I want to. Well, how long have you been stropping it for? You shouldn't need to strop it very long depending on what stuff you're using. Speaking of which, I've got some Rex 121 I still need to test. I haven't carried it, I haven't done anything with it. It's just sitting there in a box in my room. Well, here's how long I'll be stropping for. Then again, this is 154 cm. It's not a MagnaCut or Rex 121 or Maximit. Okay, done. Oh yeah, I freshly sharpened it. My touch-ups are like 4 to 8 passes on the stone and then 4 passes on the strop. Which a touch-up is like and there we go. For some reason, it's probably because I'm tired, but I'm actually having trouble comprehending what you're saying right there. Give me a sec. Basically, just take, yeah, not fully. Okay, so the stone is me taking off any microburrs or anything like that that may be happening. I don't have any honing products. I don't have any ceramic. I don't have a steel for honing or anything. It's just the stones and the strops. So yeah, that would be, honing is, I guess, what I would call a touch up. Yeah. I never really looked at it that way because I don't have any products that are specifically meant for honing. All my stuff is for sharpening. Yeah, could look at it that way. I never really looked at it that way, to be honest. I always thought, to be honest, if I was honing something, I'd be using something like ceramic, and then stepping right back up to a strop anyway. So this one's my finishing one, and this one's the one that does all the dirty work. This one is a 4,000 grit diamond. Diamond emulsion, and this one is stainless polish. So this one I use for if I wanted a mirror edge like this guy did, which I don't know how well it's going to show up, but this guy wanted a mirror edge, so I sat there and stropped it for a while. But I don't usually strop for very long at all. It really, really depends on what kind of finish I want. For my personal knives, I don't give a shit. I go for performance instead of looks, so I typically leave this one at 400 grit. And then if I were to touch it up, I'd either touch it up on a 1000. This is a 600. The other one's 1000. And then I'd strop it. Oh, I'm sure I could watch some videos on it. I'll be honest, I'm really not worried about it. I'm happy with how things turn out. I need to get all of this guy's knives put in one spot before I ship them back. No, it's not very helpful when I pile a whole bunch of my shit on top of his knife. That is a really good looking knife. This one took a while. Might have to buy some of this stuff. I leave most of my stuff at 400 grit, and then some of it I bring up to 500. The 500 grit lapping film that I have leaves a nasty, it's disgustingly sharp. But it only does it for, I haven't been able to pull it off on every steel. What is up with this? it's sharp, and I know it's sharp, but it doesn't feel sharp, and it's not shaving. But it's sharp, but it's not shaving. I mean, you guys saw that. That's probably the fastest and easiest anything's ever cut through a paper towel after being on the table. But it doesn't shave. That's weird. I'm trying to comprehend that. I'm actually having issues thinking about that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Because I didn't have that issue with Maximate. And I haven't had that issue with MagnaCut or M42. Is that just an S110V thing, or... Oh, you have the same issue with Rex 121, huh? Like, that's disgustingly sharp. That is... Nobody needs a knife that sharp. Just the weight of the knife is enough. I need to tell that guy that this thing's sharp as shit. I don't usually sharpen them to that angle. Which explains... this one's S110V, yeah. It's not my knife, though, so... I just followed the angle that the previous person sharpened it at. It's not what I'd normally do. Does it cut it like this? It does. At the moment, it looks like S110V. But it doesn't shave. That is verified. Sharp as shit. We've all seen it. I've got a nasty edge on S30V. I won't touch Nitro V, but I can get a pretty good edge on that too. I won't touch it anymore though. Sharp are you? Yeah, you're still shaving. The thing that bothers me is this thing was shaving sharp when I put it down, and now it isn't. And I've had Nitro V that does that too. I'm willing to bet. Not literally willing to bet, but... Yeah, you know how people do this? They catch it on that one spot where... I did it on this earlier too. I feel like I'm gonna crack it. I don't like how that felt. There was no play, no give. It just... Well, it's definitely sharp. It's not like cutting that little bit of stuff is going to affect the edge. I did that with this thing. The original cut, I did it with this thing. That was really sharp. Impressively for my practice. And maybe, yeah. So maybe I just suck at sharpening MagnaCut. Interesting thought. I know for a fact I did it at the wrong angle, which was fine. Well, I've gotten that one broken in a little bit better. This one I will not be doing. I'm not breaking this one in. That still needs lubed. And the tool for it. I'm not. I know I'm not. I do different angles on different knives. This one I do at roughly 20 degrees because it's a brittle steel. Same thing with my MagnaCut, but not for the same reason. This one I did at that angle because it came like that. This one's like 19 degrees, I think. It might be 20 as well. I kind of just follow the factory edge on most knives. I just do a better job than they do. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Their results are impressive. They speak for themselves. I don't need to impress others personally. I don't really care. I'm happy with my results. And short of the people that I'm doing this as a service for, I still don't feel good with how this ended up. Even though I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's still sharp. It's just, I feel like I did something wrong when sharpening this thing when I didn't. There's no issues. It's sharp all the way. I don't know. I feel like I made a mistake somewhere. And I didn't. Too acute of an angle will cause that too. That's why I do the angles that I do, is so that I don't have issues with edge stability. I care very much about not having my edges broken. It's the whole reason I do the angle that I do. There's specific knives that I'm more worried about than others. Here in a couple months, I may be trying a new steel. Like brand new, just about to be released steel. Should be fun. We'll see. I love how Laren Thomas says that edge geometry is everything, and I 100% disagree with him. The problem is, He has a doctorate in metallurgy, and I don't. I think heat treats everything. Because without heat treat, it's not going to hold an edge, and sometimes you can't even get sharp if it's not heat treated properly. But then there's if you had a shitty geometry, then it doesn't matter anyway because you can't cut anything anyway. Overall, it's kind of a stupid argument because a knife isn't a knife unless it has multiple things, including a heat treat as well as geometry. Well, sure, but you could also say that the geometry matters if instead of having a 20-degree angle, it's a 90-degree angle and it's just flat. Then what? Then it won't cut anyway. Geometry is important too. Some people say that the steel is the most important. It's a stupid dilemma because it doesn't make any sense. You're not going to have a knife unless you have multiple things working together. I think steel matters as well as heat treat because, I care about edge retention. Geometry is important too. There's just everything's important that it all works together, and if it doesn't work together, you're not going to have what you want. And I'm sitting there restating the same thing because I don't know what else to talk about. And I'm tired, and for some reason, I just keep on blabbering. I'm good at that. Need to break this thing in. Don't tell me that one of the screws is coming back out again. I swear if that's happening again. Yeah, we all have one thing in common. We like sharp things. And women find us creepy. It's a joke. Oh my god, he's interested in knives. You need to be careful around him. Words I don't think I've ever heard. An interesting conversation to have. Yeah, excuse me, pardon me. I like sharp, shiny things because they're sharp and shiny. I see. Yeah, that tracks. Okay, I gotta take this thing apart again. Go ahead and move these knives over here along with the tool. No point in having this out. What the hell are you still doing out of the box? And you go in the box. A lot of times I don't use anything. Lately I've been using the Chris Reeve grease though. But for this one there's nothing in there. It ended up traveling to the lock bar and causing issues. So I stopped using anything on it. Give me my damn silly putty. You hold that. I need T8 for both. No, this is silly putty, not serious putty. I don't have a license for serious putty right now. Maybe one day, but not today. Put way too much super glue on that one. Oh, don't fall apart without being over the table. Okay. Now what the hell is going on here? First, bearings, blade, stop pin in silly putty, bearings. This goes in yeah, you can get it at the dollar store. At least you could back when I got it. They sell it in little red eggs. Stick it in the acetone. Now what's going on? This needs to come out along with its pins. I'm going to go ahead and put the pins back though. This needs to be taken out. Yes, I didn't mean to use that much super glue, I'll admit that. Okay. I use super glue on my Sebenza too, because I don't give a shit. The Loctite that everybody sends. I prefer just using super glue because it doesn't take forever for it to set up. Okay, so now I actually need to use super glue. And I know it sounds stupid because I just got done complaining about using too much super glue. But if this thing loosens, it causes issues in the action of the knife, and I can't have that happening all the time. Like, larger issues. And of course you want name brand silly putty. I didn't know that they made off brand. No, you don't. I don't do that. I put it directly on a screw. I treat it just like Loctite, except for it sets up almost instantly. And it sticks to your fingers. Oh shit, I should probably close that. Why can't I be a little bit of both? You know? That's probably not a good thing. The fact that I just did that. Will the other screw still fit in there? Well, that's good. Pull out a stone real quick. You can hold that. Move all of this shit out of the way. And be very careful. Okay. Tiny, tiny, tiny modifications at a time. Because I don't want to buy another. So yeah, I tried using oil with these, and I tried using grease, and I don't like oil or grease in my bearings, so I just kind of said okay and use nothing. I mean, it's not like the bearings are moving fast enough to need anything as a lubricant, so I don't use anything as a lubricant. Beautiful. Go ahead and try and screw that in again real quick. A little bit of resistance, but that's not going to be bad. Should help me with not needing to use any more super glue because there's still some residue from the old stuff in there. Well, I'm thinking about trying out some new stuff, and it's interesting. I've never tried dry lube on a knife. But yeah, I've got a grease that I want to try. And oh, Nano Slick 33. Yeah, so these are ceramic bearings. They're not steel. The balls in them are ceramic, so it's not metal on metal. And the there was somewhere I was going with this. The blade steel on this one's really, really hard. I'd be like mildly worried about the scales before I was worried about anything else. The old bearings, though, they were steel. I might need to try and find a lubricant, though, because I'm curious if I can get any better action out of this knife, short of having it a little loose. Nope, never heard of it. Let's try a T5 because that T6 isn't doing. Fuck, I don't have a T5 in here. T5. It'll be my first time using a T5 because that T6 does not want to fit in there. Whew, that was a really loose fit, but it barely worked. T5, go back to a spot I will likely never use you again. T6. Still need the T8. Dumbass. All right, let's get this thing tuned. That's not right. There's something wrong. Well, time to go back in. Fuck. Need to rotate the bearings. That's my best option here, which sounds dumb, but I think the bearings are sitting there fighting against each other. Yeah, I'm using skiffs. Ah. Okay, so I want to try. You know what I did do last time? And it worked really well until it didn't. We're going to go with that Chris Reeve lube again. We're going to remove that bearing. Okay, now we're going to grab this little piece. What, they both take your house or something? I don't know. I have horrible luck with women. Chris, what's up? Sitting here fighting with a knife that I don't want to be fighting with. Fuck. Forgot to put grease in another spot. Damn it. Lucky you. But yeah, that nano slick stuff that I want to try should be interesting. Instead of being $15 for or 15 grams of it or something, it like it is for the Chris Reeve stuff, it's like 25 for 3 ounces or something. I'm talking about using grease though. It's raining here. I'll be honest, I'm not worried about it at all. Damn, I say I'll be honest quite a bit. But yeah, I don't really care. I've got stuff that I'm interested in trying out, and I don't want to spend an arm and a leg to get it. So, as you guys know, value for money is important to me. You should look into the stuff that I'm talking about, though. It's good for. Oh, what did they say? From as low as negative 20 something to 100 or 200 something degrees. Yeah. Which one's that? I'm probably still going to use super glue, but wish I could get some super glue that came out slower. Interesting. I know Loctite makes one that's soft or easier to remove than blue, and that stuff's purple. And I thought about trying it out, but after I got my hands on that blue thread lock stuff from Harbor Freight and realized it's trash, I just didn't want to mess around anymore, and I went straight to super glue, and it worked. Well, there's only a few people in here, so I might as well talk about it now. Carpenter is coming out with a new steel, and by the sounds of it, it's coming out next month. Well, that's why I don't use a ton of it. I use just like less than a dot. You know, I don't let a full drop touch my stuff. Or else it's too much and then you can't get it undone. So their new steel, I need to get a little bit more info on it. I'm talking to them about it though, because there's a company that I want to work with and they don't want me, the carpenter doesn't want me using this steel because they're trying really hard to push this new steel of theirs. So according to their little thing, I'm going to tell you what the steel name is real quick. It's called A421. Brand new. It's supposed to be a budget stainless that's got um, great stainless properties as well as great toughness. I did leave in my email that I'm not really super interested in toughness. I'm more worried about edge retention. but I did tell them that I'm curious how it stacks up against 14C because their little pictures, their little close up pictures that they got make it look like it's a really, really clean alloy. I know nothing about it other than it's supposed to be really stainless and it's supposed to be relatively cheap. Well, another thing that they pointed out, and they made it abundantly clear, there's no chromium carbides on the surface, which makes me wonder if they used chromium at all to make it stainless. Because Vanax is like 20% chromium, and so is M390. But I'm curious if they were able to pull this off with zero chromium, or if it's just really well integrated to where there's no large carbides. It was impressively clean. Like, really, really clean. It looked cleaner than 14C. But I need to talk to them about possible, if they're willing to give it to me, chemical composition. And yeah, we'll see. And even if they are willing to sell it to a company in China, because that maybe they're not interested in that. And if they're not, then I probably won't be working with it. But if they are, then I'd love to learn more about it. Bob Rick, what's up? It's supposed to be on the budget side, yeah. That's what they claimed anyway. They claimed that it's the best in its class at something, but I don't remember what their email said. I suck at remembering shit. Yeah, you're way late. I'm like about to end the stream and stuff. Because I hate ending at weird times, I'm probably gonna end it here in about 7 minutes. Or wait, six, no, 9 minutes. Sorry. But I don't even know if they've released it publicly yet. Like if it's anywhere online or anything. Well, I wouldn't expect you to have heard about it yet. I don't know if I don't know who all else has heard about it. I just happened to reach out to Carpenter because I wanted to use their special version of M42 high speed steel. No, it's silly putty. I'm just curious how well knives cut it. Yep, it is. It's directed to medicine and cutlery. We're talking about a new steel that Carpenter's coming out with. I'm not sure if I was supposed to talk about it or not, but they didn't tell me that I couldn't. They also didn't know that I'm a YouTuber, so to be fair. I guess we'll see if KC3 comes back with something. I searched for it on that Blade Steel app that I've got, and it's so new that they don't even have it on there. Which means there's no info about it on Z Knives either. It's not even a powder metal. Well, I'm gonna go bring my cat inside from the front and then back into the garage because it's raining and I'm nice and stuff. Oh. appreciate if you would stop clawing at my arm. Yeah, just mangle my arm, why don't you? The cat's doing fine. Getting up like that really hurt my back, though. Should have waited a bit. Nope, just a cat. Oh, fuck it. We'll go until it's 2.5 hours. That means 2.5 minutes left. Oh, I swapped my Sebenza back. It's stock again. It will never be as smooth in the stock, with the stock front scale as it is with my scale on there. Yeah, I put the factory blade back on because I like how it looks when it's closed. I think I'll be bringing it into the shop to, that's not good. I think I'll be bringing it into the shop for, I don't think the front scale is flat on the inside. Oh, looks like we're fine. Yeah, I just like how it looks with that blade. Kind of how it was meant to look from the beginning. But yeah, I'm hoping I can convince them to check and see if the front scale is flat, and if it's not, convince them to let me flatten it. Or at least have them re-flatten it because it's not flat. There's something going on around the pivot area that's causing it to not be as smooth as it could be. I know that for a fact because when I swapped scales to my scale after flattening it, this scale right here, it's a lot smoother with this scale on it than it is with that scale on it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. So, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever it is. And we'll see you in the next one. There it is.